What's happening, guys?
So you're looking for a lake
That's haunted,
dangerous,
and you can find freaking the Lahontan Cutthroat Trout trophy fish.
you want to go fishing, but you don't want to go to Tahoe. You're tired of all the bougie people with their boats and condescending.
We got another beautiful lake, 35 miles north of Reno.
In this video, we're talking about Pyramid Lake.
Stay tuned. What's happening, guys? I am Joe Hannick.
I'm Ryan Chikwara.
Welcome to our Living in Reno channel. We're covering lakes, we're covering swimming, we're covering northern Nevada.
You name it. We
Name
got it.
We're covering it. Check out our previous videos. Ryan and I are licensed agents, licensed real estate agents in the state of Nevada.
Yep.
That's why we're putting out this content. So if you're moving here, relocating, whatever, call, text, email. We're jumping into this one. We always talk about Lake Tahoe.
It's the
and
gem,
how
right?
beautiful it is.
You can't not talk about Tahoe.
But Ryan, what are we talking about today?
Pyramid Lake.
Pyramid Lake.
Yeah, so the kind of ugly little stepsister, if you will, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say step brother, small. It's just a completely different lake. It's a
Different
desert
vibe,
lake.
but we love it.
Exactly. It is on the Paiute Tribe Indian Reservation.
Yeah.
This video is just going to be about all these fun facts and what you can do on the lake.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting, entertaining. Stick with us. The lake is freshwater and some saltwater. Explain that one.
So Lake Lahontan, which covered a large portion of Nevada back in the prehistoric days, if you will. And then as that evaporated, now Pyramid Lake being the largest lake left over from that.
The deepest part of that ancient Lake Lahontan.
Yes, and so all the salt water that was coming from the ocean way back in the day, some of that still remains. So you've got about a sixth of the lake being salt water.
Yeah. From prehistoric times.
Yeah, so 16% of the lake salinity, if you will.
Yep.
So not fresh water necessarily, but you're getting water from the Truckee.
Exactly,
So,
and the water is fresh. It's coming. It's the overflow of Lake Tahoe, Truckee River, and there's no exit once it hits Pyramid Lake.
it's there.
It's there.
Yeah, and it's not like the Great Salt Lake, right, where you're sitting there floating on salt water because of the salinity. Just slightly salty. So I wanted to mention that because it is freshwater lake, but it's left over.
So just one fun fact there.
Yep.
Location-wise, it is just about 35 miles northeast of Reno, and midway between the Black Rock Desert.
Where everyone knows one of our famous events, Burning Man out there.
Exactly. We already talked about it being fed by Lake Tahoe. So the water is gorgeous. The lake is surrounded by huge rock formations that you really don't see anywhere else.
And we'll have some B-roll of that, right? Because I mean that's one of the main. You drive around out there, it's just pretty awesome. So.
Definitely. The lake does cover about 125,000 acres. 15 miles long, 11 miles wide.
Yep.
And that info might be a little different, right? Wikipedia says...
Depending on where you're looking, yeah, right?
Yeah,
so.
and that's 350 feet deep, and the shoreline of Pyramid is just a little bit larger than Lake Tahoe.
Which, once again, that's why we wanted to highlight it, right? Because everyone's coming up here, they're always going out to Tahoe. We love Tahoe. Can't say it enough. But if you're just going to look and get on some jet skis or whatever, Pyramid might be the spot.
Exactly. It's easily accessible, right? You don't have to deal with the amount of crowding, things like that Lake Tahoe you have to put up with. You can get on Lake Pyramid on the shoreline, right?
Yeah.
You can drive your truck, 4x4, four-wheeler, literally off-road into the water from the entrance, right, of the trailhead, I guess, if you will, of Lake Pyramid.
And this is a Pyramid video, but I'm going to keep bringing up Tahoe. When you go to Tahoe for the 4th of July, I think there was a stretch of my buddy was up there driving. It was a 3-mile stretch, an hour and 10 minutes to just drive along the lake there for a 3-mile stretch, right?
Yeah, which is
Pyramid.
absurd.
They have amazing fireworks up at Tahoe. Pyramid on the Indian Reservation. You can go buy your own fireworks out there, and people are launching them during the 4th of July, right? So
definitely, and it's such a different. I mean, it is a desert lake, right? Versus the Sierras, right? And Lake Tahoe, but. Add it to the list because it might be more your style. It might be more of what you're looking for, but it is night and day.
And then, I mean, Joe mentioned, obviously, right? It's 35 miles northeast of Reno, depending on where you're at. Spanish Springs community, we've done multiple videos on that. Check them out. But that community is continuing to grow. those are a bunch of people out there that love their RVs, love their off-roading vehicles, all that different stuff. If you're out that way, you're about 20 minutes
exactly
to Pyramid.
And so, it's perfect. I'm going to skip, instead of doing the haunted curse, I'm going to jump into
straight to what we like to do.
What do you like to do at Pyramid Lake? One of the main reasons that attracts so many people to the lake is the Lahontan Cutthroat.
Yeah.
They do have trophy-sized, renowned fish out there, and it is a trout. So it brings a lot of anglers out there. I personally don't fish. My mom loves to fish. Bless her heart.
My father-in-law is trying to get me out. I mean, well, I really do want to get out. It just has not fit in the schedule.
And they've got some monsters. Right now, the world record is 41 pounds out there, set in 1925. I couldn't imagine hooking up onto a
and I don't think you're
41.
gonna that might be a record that never gets broken, because people go out there all the time and are fishing now. So,
and what's funny too is I have friends that go out there and fish all the time. I have friends, they'll bring ladders out there, right? Because from the shoreline you can walk.
Oh yeah,
you can walk a good distance, and still it's only gonna be 2-3 feet deep. So they'll bring a ladder out there, right? Walk as far as they can. It starts to get a little too deep. Set the ladder up. They're up on the ladder. They're fishing. They're out of the water, right? It's not chest high. And it's just interesting. I've never really seen that anywhere else before. As far as and there's also a handful of other fish in there as well but I just think that cutthroat is by far
that's the one
popular.
that they're most known for.
Yep.
They do have other wildlife out there, obviously. The American white pelicans, the largest winter population, are migrating to Anaho Island, I believe.
I like that.
And I think it's actually called Pyramid Lake because when John C. Fremont came out, there is basically what looks like, it's a giant rock formation in there that looks like a pyramid.
Right in the middle of the lake.
Obviously in 18 whatever, it was definitely looking like a pyramid to them back then. Like, check that out. So that's kind of, there's different multiple little islands that are out there, but the American white pelicans that are out there are pretty cool to see. Yeah,
and we'll have some good B-roll of that. But that also adds a little bit to the mystery, right, and hype of Pyramid Lake.
Yeah, we'll go into the mystery of Pyramid here, because it's got some interesting facts.
As far as recreation, I mean, you're still doing all the same things you're doing on Tahoe. You're going boating, you're tubing, you can ski, you can wakeboard, you can surf,
paddleboard it, float it. I mean, I just personal anecdote. One of my really good friends had his bachelor party there. We all just set up tents and everything. Right, we're right on the shoreline. We had friends fishing. We were playing frisbee. Just a great time out there.
Yeah, and you're just, again, not on top of your neighbors.
No.
It will get busy. Obviously, 4th of July weekend, right? It's going to be pretty packed out there. But for the most part, you're going to have your space.
On any given weekend, you're going out there. I mean, we did not interact with basically anyone the entire time on our shoreline.
Definitely,
right?
yeah. And the same time when I've been out there camping, it was so spread out. Sure, again, other campers, but it wasn't that designated campsite that you had your picnic, you had your little campfire. If you wanted,
it's the one where you're like, look, and you're like, well, find a spot. Yeah, you're over there now. Go, you're over there.
That being said, bring your own shade.
Yes.
Right? You're not going to have any pine trees or any shade out there.
No.
And
you want the pop-up.
Yeah. Exactly. As far as off-roading, again, Ryan touched on it. Clients out in Spanish Springs with the dirt bikes, the UTVs, right? 4x4s, rock crawlers, you name it. That's what Pyramid Lake is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's the same thing. Like, when it comes to the off-roading, night and day, Pyramid over Tahoe.
Absolutely.
You're not doing anything like that up in Tahoe.
No, I mean, it's an entire playground to where, again, if you want to test out your 4x4 and just cruise, there's so many different trails out there, different levels as well, so know what you're getting yourself into. But out at the Moon Rocks, right? Moon Dunes out there. Huge rock crawling event every year out there, and that's probably some of the hardest some of the hardest terrain, some of the rock crawlers.
Yeah, I think we'll probably have B-roll of that as well. I mean, it's a super cool spot. So
yep, and we already did mention camping directly on the lake, right? I feel like that's a really special thing to do because not a lot of places, and not just saying not Tahoe, I'm saying any lake in the vicinity of us, you can't camp right on the lake.
Yeah, and you do have to have a permit is required. Unless you are a part of the Paiute tribe, right? Yep. So they have reservation rights. They don't need permits. You are supposed to have a permit. I could say the last time I was out there, I'm not sure if the person that set up our campsite had a permit, get one. It makes sense,
Definitely.
right? It's not that expensive.
Yeah. You're paying to use their resource. And as far as permits go, there's going to be a permit for boating, jet skiing, day camp, weekend camping, and the numbers ranged, I think, from like $28 a night.
Yeah, we might post a picture of that as well, but all super reasonably priced.
And jet skis are about $56 per day. I don't know if they are polluting, right, the lake a little bit more than anything else, but it seemed to be about double or triple.
Just what it costs to camp.
Yeah, exactly, which is interesting. One thing I did want to mention on when I was camping out there, again, this is probably, it's a long time ago. I haven't been out to Pyramid in quite some time, but a huge gust of wind. So there's a big sandstorm, basically, right? Because it's in the desert, right on the water. Sandstorm. It was so windy that we all had to go in tents and basically like get out of the sand because you couldn't see, you couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
It blew away, right? It wasn't that long, but it was a little bit gnarly. So
it's a desert lake.
Exactly.
You got to describe it that way. So
something you don't have to deal with at a lot of other places, but just figured I'd throw it out there.
Yeah. I guess last, we just kind of want to get into the mystery of Pyramid Lake.
The weird stuff. Is it cursed? Is it haunted?
Yeah, some people think so. I mean, for me, it was a curse. I'll give it just one quick anecdote. They used to do the Nevada Appeal, the newspaper down in Carson. They would do a treasure hunt where you'd look for a medallion every day in the month of October leading up to Nevada Day. They would basically give another clue, and they would all build up where halfway through the month it was starting to become more evident where this medallion might be. My brother and I went on the search. And when it comes to off-roading, we mentioned previously, do not drive a Ford Taurus into a mud pile. Yeah. That's my brother. I've never been, he's a teacher. He's one of the smartest guys I know. I've never looked at him more angry in my life, I think. Luckily, Nevadans, very friendly people. We got a little tow out from some people and some more help. And I will never forget that day just because
the things you'll do for a medallion.
We thought that we thought we had the answer, and we thought it was Pyramid Lake because of some of the clues about the history and the curse of Pyramid. So
fun fact about Ryan and the Chickvara family.
There's a quick anecdote about how we can be so smart but so dumb at the same time.
Too funny. So as far as it being cursed or haunted, again, we'll say that Pyramid Lake is the deepest part of the prehistoric lake Lahontan.
And that's, obviously,
so who knows what lurks?
It's just the remnants of prehistoric lake. So
definitely. There is considered the Paiute tribe. There is a mermaid curse.
You go on that one.
Yeah, potentially to be put on their tribe and the lake. There was a Paiute warrior, probably, I don't know, back in the 1800s, who tried to marry a mermaid. Brought the mermaid to the tribe. Tribe told him not a chance. Told him to bring the mermaid back to the water. Mermaid got super upset, cursed the tribe. So they think any bad luck that has happened ever since then kind of gets put back.
And that is basically where Disney's Little Mermaid came.
Yeah, speaking of that.
No, I'm kidding.
That's
I'm kidding on that. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, there's also just the water babies is another one that
this one creeps
people
me
have
out.
heard of. Yeah, so sounds of babies crying and or laughing coming from the lake, and so different people just said that out there late night. That
depends on how much you drink, I guess, right?
I mean, but this is dating back for a while now, right? So I'm not a ghost hunter type person. When I was out there, I was aware that I've heard of water babies. I didn't hear any water babies when I was out there.
And that is coming just from the tribe, back in the 1800s, that any baby that was
not
perfect,
not up to standard, right? Sadly,
sent into the water, into the lake.
It's like the movie 300.
Exactly, that one, creeps me out. This one is, it could be because it's haunted, but a lot of stories come out that the lake could be just glass, perfect, flat. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's rogue waves that come in. They've sank boats before. It's not because of the wind, because the wind was totally fine out there. There was no rhyme or reason that all of a sudden the water just gets extremely rough. Again, who knows why?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, and those are, sort of secondhand accounts of different times, and so
there's some other funny stories too, or crazy stories about Lake Tahoe and Pyramid Lake being connected by underground tunnels, people disappearing in Lake Pyramid ending up being found in Lake Tahoe, and vice versa. There's actually no true
Yeah,
to
and Joe
support
went
that
down
one.
the wormhole on this one, right? So he's read all.
I've learned all
he's,
sorts
he's,
of
he's
stuff.
read up on everything here.
I love it.
I will say that from my experience out there, it's just a good time, and none of my friends' boats have overturned.
Yeah, yep.
Randomly, right? But
People go missing.
did want to let you know that there is, a haunted or cursed aspect of Pyramid Lake. So,
Definitely. Last thing I think I'll touch on is just maybe the crowd at Lake Pyramid again versus Lake Tahoe. It's going to be a little bit more of a little hillbilly hoedown, if you will.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to be out there.
for lack of a better way to describe it, Tahoe can be a bit bougie at times,
Yeah.
right? You might have some people out there that, have the most expensive boat you've ever seen, and might think they're a little bit better than you. But because Tahoe's so perfect, people put up with it, right? Because you're in the most beautiful place on
Exactly.
earth, in our opinion. When you get out to Pyramid, you might have your neighbor throwing you a Coors Light, and there you go.
And
right?
shooting you with a Roman candle.
Only on the fourth.
Only on the fourth.
Or maybe not.
Yeah. Who knows? But Lake Pyramid, I think
That's
we
it.
did it justice.
Yeah, we like Pyramid Lake a lot. It's a great spot to get away, avoid the
close.
crowds, and have some fun with the family. So
Definitely. So there you have it. Till next time.
stay tuned.